I just want to mention, I will be leaving at about 25 past. I just dropped in to say hello.
25, yeah.
Long have no seen, Anneli.
Yeah.
Why don't you start, Anneli, how you're doing?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, ladies. Yeah, I'm grateful to have started this year in a more gentle way than usual, and I'm looking forward to how it's unfolding. And I'm here in Cape Town, and I'll pass to you.
You're muted, Gertrude. Yeah.
That was quick. I would love to hear a little bit more.
I've got a barking and a four-legged one here, so Gertrude, you have to continue.
Yeah, go on with second, and then we might put it into the topic in some way, because I have an idea what we could talk about. Gertrude, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just back from bronchitis. So
From what?
bronchitis. So I'm Gertrude, living in Germany, and we spent Christmas with our kids and grandkids, and then we came back and we're sick. A phenomenon if you have toddlers. And yeah, so I'm back on track, and it's good to see you all. I couldn't make it the last time, so Happy New Year, everyone. Happy, healthy, joyful. Yeah. And I pass on to Monia.
Yeah, well, the new year wasn't quite that healthy. I had to go to an exhibition of Rembrandt, which I didn't want to miss, and it was really terrific, and I didn't notice that I walked around so much. And then I had in my left knee the back, so it hurt terribly, and I just limped around, and I felt like I'm 90 or 95. And then my husband had an idea about, he has a deflammatory medication, and I took one, and the next morning I felt fine again. So I was very happy. But this comes so unexpectedly, and then I really feel old, and so I'm taking it slower now, and yeah. And I won't go to an exhibition in quite some time anymore, because I was so fascinated by these Rembrandt paintings. They are just marvelous, and yeah. But well, my grandchildren, they went to Hamburg and then to Marrakesh, and so they just they all over. But Marrakesh was just terrific. They sent so many pictures, and it was just yeah, beautiful. The colors of the sand dunes, and of the blue of the cities, and so I've never been there before, so I was really impressed. But my husband and I were just happy to pass one day after the other, and when I feel fit to go shopping for groceries. That's about, yeah, and we just took down all the Christmas decorations, and now I'm exhausted after today. Okay, I'll pass on to Victoria.
Difficult to unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heidi, I'm going to let you go first. I'm about 5 minutes away from my house, and then I'll go on my computer, and it'll be more normal, because I can check in now, but it's a little rickety. I'll go ahead since I'm talking. Can you hear me okay? Okay. Anyway, Happy New Year, everybody, and I'll see you normally in a couple of minutes. But the it's sort of, Moni's going to laugh, especially. I was hoping very much that Beatrice would be on the call today, because she really misses you all. And we both went into the Zoom room whenever, like it was during the holidays, when Heidi, you said you were going to leave the Zoom room open, and whoever showed up, Beatrice and I did show up, but nobody was there. But I was so happy that she motivated to do that this morning. But I just got a text from her last night that she and her partner Galen, they just returned to Portland. They were down here for the holidays. They just, so I'm wondering indeed if maybe I caught it too, because they just left a couple days ago, but we'll see what happens. But so I'm assuming she's fast asleep trying to recover. And but anyway, I'm on her behalf. I'll send her love, because she was actually planning to come today. And as I said, we came when nobody else was there, but it's good. It shows that maybe in this new year she'll be rejoining us. So I'm gonna just about to get out of the car, so I'll see you momentarily. Thanks. Over to you, Heidi.
Thank you. Yeah, it would be nice to see Beatrice again sooner or later. Yeah, check in. It's getting cool in Italy. Overnight it's getting about freezing now. And I covered a little bit my vegetables, the salad and so on, or not to have it. In Italy, they say burnt, because they don't really have a good word for frozen. So altogether, I'm fine. Had other nice talks today. And 2025, I thought we could talk about our projects for this year, our hopes and our fears, whatever we want to choose, because I have heard a lot of prophecies and astrology, foresights and whatever, and they all say this year will be roller coaster. And so I'm wondering what your ideas are and what you plan to do for yourself, or also in case something will be different, do you have a plan B? And whatever, I would suggest to do, as we always do at the end of the year and the beginning of a year, a little bit of a preview or recollection of the previous years. So that's my proposal.
Okay, Hanneli, why don't you start since you have to leave?
Just have a barking four-legged one behind me, so please excuse that. He's just, he was just,
You don't
was
hear
ju-
it anymore.
yeah, but he wants my attention all the time. You see, so he's bark. He doesn't want me to be in front of the computer after 6 o'clock in the evening. He really complains every time I do something online. Yeah, thank you, Heidi. Yeah, for me was the past 2 years were really insightful. A lot of alignment happened, although some of it was really painful. And I made a lot of self-discoveries about myself that impacted how I approached this year. And to see that whatever happened was really there to put me into alignment, more into alignment with what I'm here to do and so on. And one of the things I discovered was, I don't think you ladies are aware of it, but I was deeply disturbed here by the middle of the year last year, because I realized that even though I reached out to some of my people in my community to support me in some ways, like on online things, not to attend it at all, just I have something on Patreon and something on Substack, and none of the people in my communities actually even responded to that request. So I was deeply hurt by it. I felt that, why am I in a community if I can't reach out to people for just that type of support? Because every time somebody enters as a free member, the visibility of what I'm sharing is higher. So I had to also then look into myself. Why is this so disturbing to me? And it took me on a long journey to discover that I was always been, because I'm sharing so much of the new, of what's new, that it's always fragile to share stuff like that. And it takes long for it to fall, everything to fall into place. But I discovered that I had this inherent fear that I will be ridiculed and rejected after feedback, for example. And so maybe I prevented it for people to actually support me in some way. It's a two-way street. So that was really interesting to come to that realization, because I wanted so deeply to be received and to be heard and seen. And then on the other side, there's this fear of ridicule, which I have experienced over the past few years. And it was mostly from people that I know. It wasn't strangers. So it was really fascinating. So I did a lot of deep internal work in the second part of the year, and I had to be by myself to do that. So I didn't join a lot of group things, that I can really see what's going on inside of me. And then to also rebuild myself up to take back my power that I gave away through the process. Because I did give my power away. And to recoup all those parts of myself that was like so fragmented then because of that. And this year, and I also realized that I was protecting what I'm here to share with the world, because again, I was afraid that I would be ridiculed or receive criticism from people that I really care about, not so much strangers. And I discovered that I have been hiding a lot of the stuff that I'm here to do because of that. And I can't expect the outer world to respond to me if I'm not bringing it show up totally. So for me personally, this year is to really show up totally, fully, completely, unapologetically, and to share this in abundance with the world. And you may ask me, what is that? So as usual, there's a lot of things that's close to my heart that I've been working on for the last 5 years. And one of them is a new economy, a new financial system and process, which is prosperity-based, not profit-based in terms of companies. And it's also to shift the mindset from a hierarchical system to a centralized system in terms of, you could call it a central prosperity orchestrator. So bring all the parts together, especially in our world where, like you say, Heidi, things are changing so rapidly and there's so many things happening. So it's not somebody on top, it's somebody in the middle, so to speak, that brings all the threads together. And it can be for an entrepreneur or it can be for organization. So that's one of the big things. And to get there is to share people intelligence, human intelligence, as we are now in the artificial intelligence era. And what is the next human being? What is this emerging human being all about? As we have all this technology and advances in AI, for example, because it's rapidly being not only introduced, accepted in the world. So what about us as human beings? So new ways of thinking, being, doing, co-creating and relating. And I also made a fascinating discovery about co-creation, about why incredible visionary people with great ideas and great visions for the world struggle to co-create with others. And it was actually embodiment process that really blew it open for me. Why I've been trying to co-create with so many amazing people, and it really never worked out. And then I discovered about why. Because some of us are drivers, some of us are collaborators, some of us are visionaries, some of us are organizers. And if you have two drivers together, nothing will happen because each want to bring their thing into the world. And then you get people who are connectors, they bring people together, they connect people, they like to collaborate. But we need all the parts, not only certain parts. And that was also an eye-opener. So for now, I'll be complete and I'll pass on to Gertrude.
Hanneli, I would like to connect you to Forrest Wilson, Our Emerging Future. This an American, but it's a worldwide thing. And also to Angela, who is creating new way of insurance in Africa, in Kenya. So that's what comes up for me first. This last year has been wonderful and challenging. My new granddaughter was born. She's now almost 8 months old, and just a joy. And at Christmas, we have seen all 3 families. And so I was pretty much involved. I was staying with them. And so this last year was at least half a year or so was dedicated to family mostly. And also like finding my own way. So I'm working with different people together, and that's nice. But I feel like, what is it that we are genuinely, as the appreciators, bring to the world? And I think we have found something that's working with startups. So that's fun to see what could we offer. And we're working on this. And this year, and my new training, the instant change training. So for this year, it's like not so much working for others, but working for myself and bringing my gifts to the world, and not only like co-working with others, which is fine, and I will still do, but really like to. And what you shared, Hanneli, this very resonating with me, the shy to really fully go out and share. Yeah. So this is my topic for the year. Yeah, and kind of really like not falling into a family and not only doing work. So to have this wonderful balance to enjoy as long as they are little. To enjoy my girls and their families. And at the same time, making a mark in the world. Yeah, that's. And Hanneli, let's talk about that in the next few days. So, Munja.
Well, last year was about health issues, and they will remain with us, with my husband, because there is no cure for his polyneuropathology. And so we just continue the best we can. And projects as such, there is the wedding of our grandson in 4 weeks. He will, and then in 1 more month, end of March, they will celebrate at the castle and in the church, and so it's really a big affair. But I notice that I'm sort of distant, mostly, and we have in our salon we talked about, somebody mentioned actually just Thomas Metzinger and Bewusstseinskultur, so consciousness culture, and the culture of consciousness. And I resonated right away, and I read the book in 23, and I noticed that I read it rather thoroughly, but I noticed that I have to again go through it, and so we will be talking about it in the next salon. One of the issues he has is intellectual Redlichkeit, Redlichkeit, integrity, so that you don't lie to yourself intellectually about things. And it's quite fascinating, and I'm wondering, and of course he is a meditator, he meditates every day, and as we all know, it piles up, so you have to do it every day. And I sort of went into Vedanta literature, and yeah, I have some kind of infinity. I wouldn't call it a project, but I feel much more infinite than I did before. It makes sense to me, and so I'm rather unafraid of whatever happens, because it's just part of the deal I took in when I incarnated. Yeah, maybe you are aware of our political issues in Austria, which are quite amazing. And we'll just sit back and watch what comes out of it. And actually, most people are rather relaxed, but again, we have the same issues we had. As long as the left parties are not in the government, they start to take to the streets and to demonstrate. So their concept of democracy is a little different than the one of the conservatives. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. So I'm also interested what the Trump administration will provide us, what problems they will provide us with, and I'm not the only one, but it's also something that will pass. Yeah, that's about as much as I can talk about my projects, hopes and fears, and I pass on to Victoria.
Thank you. Well, I guess I'll start with fears. Oh, no, I don't know if they're fears, but I do have a lot of family members and friends in Los Angeles. And oh, and Monia, thank you for reaching out. I had such a hectic couple of days or the week that I'm way behind with everything. But thank you for thinking of me. Yeah, so as far as I know, everybody is safe, but living with other people, the area that was hit by the fires is where I have the most friends and acquaintances and well, actually, I don't know if my family lives there anymore, but and the air here has been very bad. Oh, Hanali, lots of love to you. And so wonderful to start the new year with you. We've really missed you. It's just fabulous. So please come back. Don't abandon us again. And let's see what else. The big news, I'm going to share well, I don't know if I should, yeah, I'll share the news. Beatrice and her partner Galen got engaged on New Year's Day at a beach where they were going. Actually, when I first met him 4 years ago, he was coming to pick her up to take her to for a walk on these cliffs. And so I don't know, in some weird way, I mean, we weren't there I mean, I wasn't there when he proposed to her, but they already had a very unorthodox wedding. They were at Burning Man in the desert in the summer. I think I mentioned that to you. That was in August, I think. And they got married spontaneously at 5 o'clock in the morning in the middle of the desert. And they have some amazing photographs. If I can figure out a way to share them with you, or for Beatrice to share them with you, they're really real artworks. So we knew it was coming, but it's still, Galen apparently had to, he had to sort of make sure he didn't have cold feet. It's one thing to do a kind of fantasy, like a theater kind of thing, and with no real strings attached, because there's no priest, there's no judge, there's no civil servant, nobody's there except your friends. And so I think he needed those months. Beatrice has been sure since the beginning, since she met him, actually. So anyway, I'm very happy about that, just because for her sake, that they still haven't set a date. I said, when are you going to get married? And she said, well, right now we're working on which state we're going to get married in. Because they spent a month in New York. They have friends there. They live in Portland, so they have a lot of friends in Oregon. They both are from here, California, originally, so they have a lot of friends and family here. So they're trying to figure out where, and they already made a list of guests, an A list, a B list, and a C list. And they said the A list alone is 300 people. So a priest friend of mine, he took us out. He's known Beatrice since she was a little girl. He took us out for lobster to ring in the new year, and he's all excited about the wedding. But I mean, he's a Catholic priest, but he knows that Beatrice is a bit of a renegade. And anyway, he was saying to me, well, who's going to pay the bill for the wedding? Because traditionally the mother of the bride pays it. So I may have to sell my house if the 300 people decide to come. But anyway, so that's that. And my news is that I've been in a very low place, as you all know, for the last, I don't know, long time. Really depressed and fighting hard to just to keep going. And I haven't played any music, and I haven't tap danced, and I haven't done any of the things I love for the really long time. And last year feels like just a kind of blur of nothingness and despair. And right at the end of the year, there's a Harvard Christian, I don't know, some Harvard thing that's like a alumni organization of Christians. And they meet at the crack of dawn. I rarely go, but I did go a few months ago, and they only meet once a month. And something in me impelled me to ask them to pray for me for discernment, because I felt like my life was just at an end, and I didn't know how to move on. And this one, they just pray spontaneously. It was the most beautiful prayer. I wish I could have recorded it. Really eloquent, and it made me cry. Anyway, last week on Monday, I woke up at the crack of dawn, like as if I'd been like hit by lightning. And there was one idea in my head that was, I must apply to Harvard Divinity School. Totally out of the blue. And so I thought, oh, I mean, literally there was nothing that led to this, no conversation, no thinking, no planning. So anyway, to cut the long story short, I immediately, when I got out of bed, looked on my computer, because all applications basically are always due for any institution, are always due in December. And I thought, this is a very weird thing to wake up with this inspiration, and it's January. Anyway, the deadline, freakishly enough, the whole university has a deadline in mid-December, early December. Harvard Divinity School's deadline was last Thursday at midnight. And so I just had a window of 4 days to pull together my whole life, contact old professors for recommendations, get transcripts, write a statement of purpose, write a resume. I had nothing because I've been living in this vacuum. And I was very grateful Beatrice was here because she pushed and pushed and pushed. And I kept getting out of my chair and saying, I can't do this. This is stupid, or I don't want to do this, or I'm too old. And she kept saying, sit down, Mama, keep going. And so I did, and it's in, and I even had to like bang down the doors. Ironically, the one person holding me up, not person, the one in, was the registrar's office at Harvard University. And talk about what Hanli was saying about how we have to be new human beings. There's no communication between the registrar's office and the Harvard Divinity School, even though they're in the same university, and they're walking distance, like 5 minutes walking. So I went totally old school on this whole application, and I just banged down the doors. I called and called and called till the human being would answer the phone. And that's what got me through, that these people stepped forward and said, oh yeah, we'll help you. We'll see that someone runs your transcript over across the street. And it was really, I don't know, there was something very heartening about to realize that, yes, there are still human beings out there. And so I don't know, anyway, I don't want to take up the whole time, but it's big news for me because what I've realized just since last Monday, since I woke up with that kind of like, epiphany, in every respect, I have more energy. I'm walking every day. I opened up my violin cases, which was a disaster, but at least I opened them up. And now if I play these, things fall apart when you don't use them. So I feel like a new person. So I'm very hopeful about the new year. Even if I don't get in, the fact that I revisited my life, I had to do it. I made a list, for example, of all the groups I've been involved with Zoom since the pandemic, and Integral and Frauen and Women Matters and Frauen am Brunnen, and all the Buddhist groups. I had over 75, there are over 75 organizations that I'm part of and involved with, but actually involved with, not just like I went once and never went again. And that really amazed me. So I realized I haven't wasted all these years. I've actually been doing something. But I had to think about it, to pull it together and realize I do know a lot. I've learned a lot about Buddhism and a lot about mysticism and Christianity. And I haven't learned as much about Ken Wilber as I should. I'm still an imposter with you. But the fact that we have conversations and that I'm communicating, anyway, so I could go on for hours, but so that's my big news. I'm really excited about it. And even if I don't get in, I feel like I'm on a new path and I have some focus. So over to you, Heidi. And I'm sorry it took so long, but here you.
So I think this is really great because sometimes in life you really need a new impulse, no? When it's sort of slow or too even, to I don't know how to call that, and then comes some new spark and you change in some way, you change your life, and that's good, and you get more energy. In some way, I have a similar experience. I think I told you that I did the Italian course to get a certification for asking. I don't have it yet, but I hope this week to ask the citizenship for Italy. At the beginning, I was very annoyed by this because I knew everything, and then I got some interest in it to figure out the details, the subtleties, and so on. And the course was over on Wednesday in December. And on Friday, I got the idea, you could do another higher level and do another exam. Why? I know enough Italian, so I don't need it. What about learning a new language? And then, I thought, oh, yes, I will be learning Russian because I had this love when I was at school. I had this love for these Russian churches with, with these how do you say, onion roofs. And I was really in love with that. And I did afternoon courses a little bit in Russian. And with the school, we did the maturity travel to Moscow then. And it was, I mean, in late 70s, no, beginning 70s. So it was still Soviet Union. And it was so many things happened, and it was almost impossible, but we were there, and and also different. And I had this obviously all the time, this desire, no, because for me it's now like closing a circle, that I start now to learn Russian in 3 weeks. I mean, I still don't understand a lot, but I see that I'm about it, and afterwards I'm sure I will go again and see, oh, how was this word? And it's such a challenge. First of all, the writing, no? It takes a long time until you understand that a P is not a P, but an R, And but I'm better in that now. Then in the print version, I sometimes cannot distinguish. I have to put on the glasses to see with all these vertical things with somewhere a little bit in between to distinguish. But it's also, as a language, it's so different to the languages I already know, So, it's a real challenge, but I'm getting new energy out of it and doing things. And also when I go to prune my olive trees, and so I feel much more laden with life, let's say. Not laden in the things, but in the sense of weight, but in loaded, I think you say, inspired. Life is coming on much more, with joy, let's say. So I think it will take a long time until I really, it's so difficult, all these endings and everything. And oh, mamma mia, I thought German is difficult, but I think this is even more difficult. But it's a challenge, and I take it. I don't know why, what I will do with it, but that's not the problem. It's just this desire to go into it, because I learned again to focus on something, with the Italian language school. And now I continue to focus, and it's getting much better and better. So, and I don't listen anymore so much to podcasts and things. Some, yes, but not as many as I did before, or other things, because now I have to remember, oh, how was the word? Go, how was it? Oh, yeah. So that's my news. And I think for this year, I will continue with this and see where I go. And with all the other projects I have, trying to find people to stay here with me, or selling the house and finding another one near the village. This is all going parallel, and I will see how it goes. I mean, I'm at the moment in a very good mood of something will show up, something will develop, and I still feel quite energetic also physically, how I walk on the ground. I mean, when I prune the olives the last day, that's like this, and you have to walk on this, and I never fell. So I feel quite fit, let's say. Even I go on the ladder again, and feel secure. So it's a new, like last year in spring, I was very energetic. Then from summer on, whoops, and now it's coming back, the energy. So far to me. Do we have any other ideas?
Well, that's
Oh,
great news. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, about what I fear. I don't know if I fear it, but I think it will be a lot this year, what we will see. I mean, many things have already changed with the election, for instance, of Trump, no? And many sides are moving, and or in Austria, and whatever is going, many things are moving, and I don't feel the need to follow that closely, but I'm very curious how it will go, all these things, how they will work out. I listened to some, as I said, prophecies, sort of prophecies. There are many people. There is one good book which is synchronicities and cycles in the world history. This is in German. And lately I saw Vortrag. What is Vortrag? A talk
Lecture.
by this guy, and that was very interesting again. And it seems that we enter in the year of the serpent, Chinese year of the serpent, and that is a year where many, 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 many things go.
The wooden serpent.
Very curious that what comes out, and probably there will be things we haven't thought about it yet. So it's useless to be fearful because we don't know what will come. The only thing which I think is we need to be prepared in a certain sense, prepared mentally to be flexible enough to respond when the moments come, which be difficult, which might not be difficult, who knows. So that's my fears and my project.
There is a podcaster or video guy who is interviewing kind of psychic people, or and it's called Next Level Soul.
Very
and
good.
there is a lot going on, and they say, this year is going to be like a roller coaster, and a lot happening.
That's a very good podcast. I don't listen to all of the pieces. I heard some Gary something lately, and he was saying that this year will be really his voices from the other side. It's interesting. I mean, do you know that, Monia and Victoria? Next Level Soul podcast. You find it on YouTube.
Alex Ferreira or something like that.
Is it in English?
Yeah. It's,
Next Level Soul, SOUL?
yes.
Yeah. He was cameraman in Hollywood, and then he's had an epiphany and started to interview people, like mediums, and there's always a disclaimer that this is not the opinion or of me. I'm just interviewing those people, and they are really interesting.
Very
So
interesting.
I listen to a lot, but I cannot keep up.
It's too much. But it's very interesting. I mean, I'm very interested in what people channel from let's say, from the other side, because I'm in the situation that I don't believe anything and I believe everything. I admit that it could be true. I don't want to believe it literally. That is exactly what is going on. But the more you hear, and I mean, I told you a long time ago about LSD and the mind of the universe, but what he experienced as the future of humanity. And there's so many people independent from each other who get these messages from, I don't know where, and they are sort of, I don't want to say the same, but point into the same direction. And I find it fascinating, just fascinating. Did you find it, Monia? Next Level Soul podcast? No, I thought you were looking for it. It's on YouTube.
I put it in the chat. It's called Next Level Zone.
Soul.
My
Seele.
soul.
Seele.
Seele.
Soul.
Oh,
Yeah.
Like Zayla,
and I
yeah.
haven't
Nextlevelsoul.com. I found it. They have their own website. And in fact, they have their first live and in-person conference March 28th to 30th, 2025. Unlock exclusive spiritual film series and events. It's a whole infrastructure. Well, that's interesting because a friend was asking me, well, about this Harvard Divinity School thing, and they said, oh, well, you'll get in easily. And actually, I applied in Japan in 2002 when our time in Japan was coming to an end. I applied and I was admitted. Or not admitted, I was accepted. And I was so excited to be going. It was just like, so it's been a dream for a really long time. And they offered me a big scholarship. And I mean, it was really great. And then the day I had to decide, we had just moved back to the United States from Japan, and little Beatrice was 10 years old. And the reason we came back to the United States was that Conrad wanted her to know her grandparents and have family, like Gertrude's talking about the little ones and and I woke up in the morning and I thought, I can't do that to her, have her go to some random public school in Cambridge, which I don't know, probably it's not as crime ridden as it was when I was there, but it was very scary when I was at Harvard as an undergraduate. And I just thought, no, she needs to be, we came here to be with her grandparents and, anyway, so it's the second time around, but I realized with all these spiritual awakenings that are going on, like this next level soul, but there are hundreds of, like, it's like they're sprouting up everywhere. And like you were saying, Heidi, you listen to, all these different podcasts. Right now, I don't know what my chances are of getting in because it's a tiny school. There are only about 250 students. I mean,
there are colonies of hippies springing.
Oh, it's very small. And 20 years ago, it was very different. At least I had a different feeling about that kind of thing. But now, and if you look up Harvard Divinity School and look at the faculty, it's, and they even boast they have like 165 different religions represented, and probably one for every student. And some people who go there who have no spiritual faculties whatsoever, but they're going because they think it'll enhance their business or their career. So it's interesting that we live in a time where there's all this kind of awakening, for better or for worse. I mean, some of it a lot of it might be spurious, and a lot of it might be valid, but you have to pick your way through and have discernment. But anyway, so I'll be curious to see how I fare, because if it were 20 years ago, I'd be sure, I would be absolutely sure that I would get accepted because I have all the qualifications they're looking for. But now, who knows? There might be some person representing some very exotic new religion, in in Africa or something that they're very intrigued by, and they want to, may have even more diversity than they already have. You never know. So it's we're living in very strange times in that sense. Oh, Monia, before I forget, was the Rembrandt show at the Kunsthistorisches Museum?
Yes.
Oh, a big show?
They had time slots, so you only could go at a certain time there. And there were about 1,000 people every day, and it finished yesterday, I believe, or on Saturday. So I really, but it was beautiful paintings, beautiful.
Oh yeah, there's just. I spent a whole day with a friend a few months ago, in the Rembrandt room at the Getty, because we both studied art history together at Harvard, and he's a professor in Toronto. And I said, there are lots of other museums in LA we can go to, and he said, no, I just want to look at these Rembrandts.
I shall look into Next Level Soul and report my opinion next time. Yeah.
Yeah, look at this Gary something. I've forgotten how that was what I listened to last. or we should listen to one together and then.
Yeah, we could also choose one and say what we think about it. Maybe you just pick one, Heidi, and post it to us.
Yeah, I could find that. Yeah.
One I found very interesting, but I don't know who that was. But she was talking about that that there will be two worlds. Like there is this more red and amber world or so, and so people like really don't want to the let's say mega and so more like the old way.
Could you say it in German, maybe? Es sind zwei Welten, hast du gesagt?
Yeah, so what she said, there will be something like a split in the world.
In reality?
In reality, that's what she said. I thought it was interesting to say they're more spiritual, awakened people, or people that and the others, they will not see each other anymore. Like they will literally not be together anymore. And there is this old thing with war and whatever, and then the advanced and ascended version of the world.
And you don't remember the title of?
No, I don't. If I find it, I can share it with you. But okay. I thought it was like I mean, when I was pregnant and I came out of the office of the doctor, and then all of a sudden where are all those women coming, the pregnant women coming from? So I thought kind of this, like you literally don't see them. The other people that are more stuck in the old world and in the and then
I wish I couldn't see all the tourists that flood our city.
I
go to the city. But it won't happen.
Yeah. No, just this and I hold it like Heidi. So I don't know if it's true, but I think it's interesting to follow that thought and think, oh, okay, could be, I don't know, but interesting concept or interesting way of looking at it.
Excuse me.
That if you don't evolve, then you will be stuck in the old world, in this old concept with wars and fights and whatever. Or you can create that our emerging future, like in another way.
That's really interesting because it reminds me around like I don't know, it's like 1999, and there's a art journal, international art journal. Anyway, the editor asked Conrad, my late husband, Conrad Oberhuber, to write an article about the millennium, his prophecy. And it was, of course, because it was an art journal, it was about art. It wasn't about like the huge cosmic issues. However, what you just said, Gertrude, is interesting because it reminds me of what Conrad saw, because he saw two worlds coming in the new millennium, and he called one the information society, and he called the other the intuition society. And so he was just looking at art as an art historian, but he was a follower of Rudolf Steiner. I mean, he was very spiritual oriented, but also what Hanali was talking about the AI. And this past week, I've viscerally like had to contend with these two worlds in filling out this application, because it all had to be online. It was an online portal. Everything is, and you're battling with these arbitrarily defined parameters. and everything's electric, and then when I, gave up and reached out to human beings, the feeling was so different. And I realized I had to almost split my persona into two different personas, that kind of the old and the new, but I mean, in a different way, not obviously the wars and evolving a consciousness, but realizing that I can't just keep fighting against this new AI world, that if I'm going to continue to live and function, I have to find some way of making peace with that, because I've just been railing against it, for decades.
Mhm.
And yet I need to find ways to cultivate even more the intuition, the intuitive, the human. Well, that's what's so great about this group, just that we can step away from our, that other world for a moment, and relate as flesh and blood human beings, even though I still haven't hugged
Yeah,
you.
using technology.
Using
Yeah.
technology. Well, exactly. And this is a good example of how to reconcile those worlds, that we relate to each other, or like in the Integralen Frauen, the practice that we had. I haven't done it for a while. The Ich liebe dich, Heidi, ich liebe dich, Monja, ich liebe dich, Gertrude, ich liebe dich. That really impressed me. Like this bringing together of this two-dimensional abstract kind of medium in the humanity.
I'm burning to share two things with you. One is, I lately heard, because I never understand when they say the earth is growing in vibrations and blah, 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 frequencies and so on. And lately I heard somebody say, in last August, the earth has shifted 1 octave higher. And immediately with octave, I could understand what it means, because we know that the earth has a frequency. I think it's Sol, it's G, the note, no? G, I think. Yeah, I do think that it's G, or Sol in Italian or in other musical
Gay for Gaia.
yeah, yeah. And then there are all the overtones, so that now the basic tone starts 1 octave higher, and that immediately made sense to me. And then because of AI, I think only this morning I talked with a friend, and she said she had heard a person who has said that he is using AI. I'm too, but in a different way. And in this about spiritual topics, and he said the answers came in a way that he believes that maybe the other world energies have an access to AI. Who knows? That would be great, wouldn't it? So don't be afraid too much before we know these things, because it might, who knows, this is all energy things. And when you can channel as a person these powers, let's say, these voices, why not artificial intelligence? Who knows? So these were the things I wanted to share with you. I think we are more or less at the end of the hour. I hear the bell ringing in some place, Gertrude, I think. So shall we-
Yeah, I just wanted to finish with one. There was a spiritual teacher, and I was at a conference, the Future Human, that's this weekend, and he said, I don't know, and he said he was at an AI conference. They invited him as a spiritual teacher. And they asked him, what do you think about consciousness and AI? And he said, I don't know, but I hope the people that create the AI are conscious people. So, yeah.
I call it artificial idiocy or artificial ignorance. Those are my two terms. And this Harvard thing was classic. I was in a Kafka-esque conundrum for 2 days, just circling around and around and around, that to do A, you had to do B, and then to do B, you had to do A, and back and forth, passing the buck, as we say. And my cell phone, my iPhone, the same thing. Like after I said to a friend the other day, I said, I remember when we used fountain pens, and when someone gave you a fountain pen and you wrote with it, your fountain pen learned the angle that you were holding it at, and so the ink would always flow out beautifully. And if you lent your fountain pen to somebody else, they wouldn't be able to write because they didn't hold the pen the same way you did. And I said, if a fountain pen can learn that, why can't my iPhone learn that this particular friend spells his name like this? And because I text this person every day or whatever, there's, it's anyway, I won't go on my rant, but it's that's my idea of AI. I'm not sure about the intelligence part. Yeah, good point, Gertrude. Exactly.
Okay, I have to leave. Victoria, please give my regards to Beatrice
I will.
and my love.
Yes,
And
please.
she should
I'll take a photo of all of you so that I can send it to her. Yeah, she really wanted to come today. Yeah, poor little thing. She's sick. So here we go.
Ja, gute Besserung.
Danke. Okay, well, I guess I'll see you tomorrow, I hope.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Die integrale Frauen.
Monday.
Die anderen Frauen.
Coffee.
Ist da die Ramona dabei?
Morgen, ja. Mhm.
And what time is it? At 7?
7.
7.
Mhm.
7.
I'll try.
Okay.
Ich habe die getroffen.
Ich weiß,
Oh.
ich weiß.
Yeah, and how did it work out?
Manchmal
was
schnell die
nice.
Aufnahme
Was
aus.
nice.
Ja?
She was quite excited before that, yeah.
Yeah,